Good morning. Thursday morning. Here we are.
Good morning. April 30th. Another month is gone, Mark.
Another month is gone. We are at the last day of April. I feel like April went by a lot faster than March did. March took forever. April went by super quick.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, even though we're sitting here and, I think our quarantine started like March 16th, 17th, 18th, something like that. Here we are. We're 7 weeks into what we're doing in our 7th week. And that was March 16th. We started. My thing is still freezing. So I apologize for that. But here we are. I mean, energized and ready to go. Got so much to do, so much business going on. Things are, for you and I we're busy. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of agents we're working with are busy. So, that's a good thing.
It's a great thing. The more people I talk to throughout the day, hearing that they are working through this and finding ways to keep themselves sane, making sure they get things accomplished, resetting their goals for the year and for the day. Like just hearing that people are able to progress like that is really great to hear.
Yeah, it is. It is. There are a lot of people that are doing things to take advantage of the time. There's a lot of people that aren't. There's a lot of people doing nothing. And I get that. And I see a lot more people. I see a lot more cars these days just out my window on the main streets because I can see a main street from my house. I don't know if that should be concerning. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't know. But I do know that for those that are not really busy, this can be really bad. And for those that are really busy, this can be difficult as well. It's difficult for me. So
right. So that brings us great into our special guest for today. We have Miriam Stobezki joining us today. Good morning, Miriam. She is a health coach. I don't know what other titles you want to put on what you do and everything you do, but why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. So yes, you got it right. Miriam Stobezki, health coach. And I got into this, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago on the heels of a long career in education, which I kind of think go hand in hand. But really, it started with my own weight loss journey and has evolved into so much more than that because it's a much bigger picture, right? Of just what we're eating. And oh my goodness, a lot of the skills that I've learned from my journey are coming in handy right now. So I'm super grateful for that.
Right. So one thing that Dave and I talk about more so now than ever is really just mental health and physical health. I know Dave and I both have, during this time gotten back into trying to be healthy, getting exercise. But what's most important for people now? Like now we're almost 2 months. A lot of people are at home. Some of them are 5-6 weeks. But what can we be doing to make sure to keep that right mindset, to stay healthy and keep focused on that?
Well, first, I would recommend that you make a decision. You actually take a moment and decide what you want. Not let the day decide, not let your circumstances decide, not let your mood decide, but you decide. And you may say now is the time, and you may say now is not the time. Kind of to your point before, Dave, of like you see people out and, people are figuring out, oh, okay, maybe this isn't just going to be a week or a day or a month. We're at like really the almost 2-month mark. So really just decide what you want to do and how you want to feel when we're on the other side of this, because we will get through this. So like take a moment and really just check in with what you're willing to do right now.
Right.
Yeah. So I know that, over the past few weeks, I've been wearing sweatpants most days, right? Because why not, right? I'm at home. I don't need to dress up every day. And, I had to dress up to go out and, those pants are getting a little snug. So I decided, all right, I'm going to go back on my eating healthy, right? Vegetables, fruits, cutting out carbs, walking more. And the last few weeks now, I feel healthier than ever because I'm doing walks and talks, right? If I have a conference call I need to do, I'll walk around and one call I made 3 miles or 4 miles, somewhere in that range. And I just felt great afterwards because I had my blood flowing. I got fresh air. Eating healthy really made me feel good. So, I think that people need to realize that it's not just the eating part, but you have to feel good inside about yourself and where you are and mentally be prepared for everything that we're going through.
Right.
I could not agree more. I know for myself, I've had those moments where I feel like garbage, right? So I eat garbage.
Right.
But then after I take a few moments on that, I realize, well, maybe I'm feeling like garbage because I'm eating the garbage. Like there's definitely a relationship there. And in a circumstance right now that we're in where the cards are stacked against you, right? It's probably going to be easier than ever to feel because you're just in your house all day. Like stack the cards in your favor. Get yourself some good nutrition because it's not just, and not to minimize, by the way, how you do look and feel in your clothing, but eating well makes you feel better. It gives you more energy and it just helps you get through this situation better than if, like, I know for me, I super love pizza and I super love Chinese food and I super should probably stop listing all the things that I love because we don't have enough time, right? Ask me how I gained 100 pounds. Right. But I feel so much more sluggish.
Yes.
And when I feel like that, when I eat like that and I feel like I notice my depression creeping up a little bit more and my energy and my just like, and when I'm eating, for me personally, 6 times a day, and I'm fueling myself properly and I'm drinking a lot of water, then I am just in a much better position to do the other things that need to get done.
So let's talk about I don't know if you can hear it. Okay. So let's talk about the positive things. Okay. So for me, I've just gone on a weight loss journey that I really didn't, it wasn't necessary. I lost close to 30 pounds. And so I was on calorie deprivation, no oils, no nothing. And here I am. I'm slowly but surely, I'm transitioning back to the real calorie count. My problem is that of hunger. So I know what I'm probably introducing the wrong foods into my repertoire too soon or too much, which makes me hungry. But I know that when I do eat late in the day, I'm okay and I don't need to eat the rest of the night. So what are those healthy things to eat aside from protein and vegetables? Well,
first of all, I'll be happy to answer, but I kind of want to just point out what's super cool about what you're doing is that you're actually noticing. You're noticing these things. You're noticing the things that are making you hungry. You're noticing when you're hungrier. And there's no better time than now to notice because it's just like you and you right now. So you get to you're in the perfect laboratory where you have all, the opportunity in the world to notice it. So.
But kudos. The hunger part is the hard thing for people because boredom brings on hunger. So, what can people eat or what can I eat instead of, the bad stuff? Is there a nutrition fulfilled snack that's low on starch, no fat, no sugars, that kind of thing? Because that's what's going to trigger all the other stuff.
Okay. So first of all, I would answer by giving a suggestion, which is to what you just said is pay attention. Are you actually hungry or is it boredom? Right? You just said boredom leads to hunger.
Right.
Are you actually hungry? Like in that moment where you're hungry, take a moment, check in with yourself and ask yourself, like, am I hungry now? Am I bored? Like sometimes legit, there's a stomach rumble that you are just like, no. This is definitely hunger. But sometimes it's not. And if you can't really tell the difference between the two, do something. If you think like, it's weird that I'm hungry because I really just ate and I know usually that stuff fills me, walk out of the room, take a walk, take a drink of water, call a friend, do something and see if you're still hungry in 10 minutes from now. There are other things also you can do in advance to avoid hunger, right? Are you getting proper sleep? Because not getting enough sleep can actually produce hunger hormones throughout the day. Are you drinking enough water? Because those kinds of things without them can also lead to hunger. But let's say it's totally hunger. You've slept, you've drunk food, you're not drunk, although you might also be drunk. You've eaten everything you usually eat. So now what? You might not like my answer, but I think it really depends on the person. I think different people react to different foods different ways. And what you're doing, in my opinion, is the best thing you can do, which is experimenting with yourself. Right. So like for me, I know that nuts work for me. If I feel that nighttime hunger coming, like I've had all my food for the day, but like I'm hungry, I know I can grab some almonds or pistachios, and that will do the trick for me. Now, I want to make sure I grab just enough. And like I just said to my 10-year-old last night as I was heading upstairs, and I said to her, I said, you see what I'm doing here? This is a pro tip. She's like, huh? I said, I had this huge bag of shelled pistachios, which when they're pre-shelled, I could just.
I
filled a little cup.
Right.
Like I said to her, I'm like, I'm not going to take the whole bag with me. If I take the whole bag, all bets are off. So I filled what I needed to actually feed the hunger and not just my boredom.
Right.
So what are tips? I mean, fitness we're talking about today. What can people do? I mean, if they're okay. So Mark, you were talking about, you felt a little tight, so you said, okay, I got to get back into fitness, and that's what we're doing slowly but surely. So what are great tips for people to do with all that, aside from my question that I asked you with hunger and stuff?
Which I answered rather evasively.
No, you answered very well. You gave me the answer that I kind of expected. So sometimes you ask a question a different way and I hopefully get a different answer. No, I got the answer that I thought I'd get.
Yeah, the answer is you'll figure it out for you. But what would I tell somebody who's feeling a little snug? I shared this with Mark before, that like the other day I started noticing my pajamas were getting tight. That is a real thing, people. Your pajamas can get tight. And I would say number one is recognize you can do something about this now. Like you really can. It is possible. You can. And I see a lot of stuff on social media talking about just taking care of yourself and like letting it go and not beating yourself up. Oh, I don't have to beat myself up, but I can consider taking care of my nutrition as taking care of myself. That is my self-care.
Right.
And I think it's really, really important to check in with, how do you want to feel when this is over? Because it will end. You will emerge from your house. And that person that's going to emerge is the same person as is going to eat the chips today or the pizza or whatever. They're the same person. And how do you want to feel? So it's really just checking in with that. For me, I don't want to buy new clothing. I don't want to be given permission to leave, but not want to, because holy cow, like I just am too embarrassed of what I look like. None of that. I want to feel great. So is really make the decision and realize you can. My next piece of advice, I mean, if I could be so bold, would be to give me a call.
Absolutely. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and how you can help them.
So really just, I would say, shoot me a message on Facebook, on Instagram. You can text me. Should I say my number? I mean, is that like a weird thing to say?
No, give out your number. Let people get in touch with you.
Okay. I'm putting it out there. I am putting my phone number on the internet for all the millions of strangers that are watching this show right now. Shoot me a text is really always the best way to get in touch with me. 201-704-1863. Because taking control of something right now, when everything else feels so out of control, can feel so empowering. And just like being able to feel better when everything just can feel so, it's liberating. It's really, really incredible. It's really incredible. I'm inspired by the people who are reaching out and getting started, because they just kind of realize this isn't a day, it's not a week, it's not a month. This is like, so it's time to rein it in and figure out what you want.
Right. So what can people expect when they get in touch with you? What's your program like?
Okay.
How do you go through it? Like, is
Great
there an
question.
intake in terms of who they are and what they like to eat? Because like I love macaroni and cheese. If I see macaroni and cheese on the menu, I'm ordering it no matter wherever I'm at, because that's my weakness there. Right. So how do you talk people through the, without giving away all the secrets on the show here, but like, what's the process?
Okay. Good question. So somebody calls me, and yes, there's totally an intake. We definitely want to get in touch with where they're at, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I want to know your current reality. What's your current lifestyle? We talk about where they're at with their weight, with their exercise, with their sleep. I love to get an idea of who do you live with? Like, just get a total picture of your lifestyle, and what are your weaknesses, right? What are the things that, like what's their mac and cheese? And then we do have several different plans depending on the person. Now, for somebody like you, Mark, if they say, I love mac and cheese, I'm not willing to give it up, I would definitely want to explore that a little more, because the question would be like, well, which do you want more, like the mac and cheese or like to fit into your pants? If somebody's diehard, like I am not giving up my mac and cheese, sure, we can definitely structure a plan around that, but it will not be our fastest. It will not be our easiest.
Right.
And for a lot of people who call me, the number one thing they're looking for is like, tell me how to do this as quickly and easily as possible. The quickest and easiest does not include mac and cheese.
Right.
Like I know for me, the saving grace of this plan that allowed me to actually lose 100 pounds was just how easy it was. As soon as you introduce mac and cheese, I have to start like counting and calculating and planning and prepping. And that's just where I used to get lost. So let's say somebody says, cool, sign me up. Obviously, you know, we make sure they don't have any medical issues, etc. We get them set up on a plan. If I have any questions about what the right plan is, we have a whole team of nutrition support, like registered dietitians who are the experts, because I don't claim to be, which is really helpful. And then the most amazing thing happens, which is especially amazing for the current situation that we're in. A few days later, on their doorstep arrives all their food, which is like, oh my gosh, you don't need to put on a mask or gloves or stand 6 feet apart from anyone or wait online or go to a store or anything. What you need arrives at your doorstep. Like it's been a true godsend right now when you don't know when you can go, what you're going to find. It's like, I know that I have shelf stable food that's going to arrive here and get me through the day. And then at the very least, you are going to be preparing at least one meal a day of your own. But like, okay, that's doable. That's doable. So all of our plans involve eating 6 times a day. So you're eating pretty much all day, every 2 to 3 hours. But, you know, you might be eating as the narrowest plan is that you'd be eating 5 of those meals would be our grab and go, like snacks. Even one of them is mac and cheese, but for somebody who like is an insane mac and cheese fanatic, you might not love this as much. I love to have bars because I love to pair it with my coffee. Like you just find whatever works for your lifestyle and then one meal a day. But it goes as much to people who are eating, let's say, 3 full meals a day and grabbing 3 snacks and then everything in between. And you know, we have people.
Everything's really mapped out for everyone, right? It's super easy.
Oh my goodness.
Really what it comes down to.
Super easy, super structured, and for a lot of folks, they don't necessarily want that, and that's cool. But for someone like me, like, sure, I mean, no, tell me the plan that I could eat fried wontons and pizza all day and lose weight. I don't know. I don't think like something's got to change if you want something to change. So.
Right. We talk about that all the time. You have to make the decision that you want to do something, right? You have to make the decision that you want to be successful. You have to make the decision that you want to accomplish something. And once you make that decision, it gets that much easier to accomplish it. The problem is that we all say we want to do something without making the actual decision, right, to start.
I actually had somebody call me at one point. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, please. Yeah. You have someone called you?
I had somebody call me at one point and I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how committed are you? How motivated are you right now? And he said, I don't remember. It was so long ago, but it was a low number, maybe a 3. And I said, well, then I'm not even going to bother telling you what our plan is. Like if your motivation and commitment is not there, like something I've been telling people more than ever lately is I am telling you right now, I'm here 100% for you. You want to text me morning, noon, and night. I will be here to support you, to celebrate you. I'm not promising to respond. You know, I'm not on call every second, but I'm going to follow your lead though. Right. You have to bring the motivation. I'm not doing this for you.
Right.
Your success is your success. And I'm here to support you, but I'm not here to do it for you. And it's empowering. People can see what they're really made of and what they can accomplish when they just make the decision to. It's really cool to be a part of.
So it's one thing to have the goal, it's another thing to have the commitment, right? It's the same thing I talk about all the time is just, you got a goal and that's just the hope. And then you have the commitment, which gives you power. Then you need the action steps. But you can have all three. If you're not going to perform the action steps, you're losing. So that goes back to your commitment.
Right.
And then the question, to your point, Dave, is how long is commitment expected to last for? I just was talking about this with my own coach recently, which is what's success? Like, is the expectation that I make a commitment and I get to my goal and anything short of that is a failure? Or is it I make a commitment and I stumble? That doesn't mean your story's over. Like, we all stumble, and just decide, like, wait, do I still want this? Cool, then pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep going. And it's okay if it doesn't look like it depends what you're talking about, right? If you're talking about business, it may not look like this. If you're talking about weight loss, it may not look like this. It may it's going to, if you're in this for the long haul, it's going to have ups and downs, and just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going.
Right.
So one thing that, I train about a lot is self-love, right? So if you don't love yourself, it's hard to succeed at anything that you do, right? Because when you love something enough, you're obsessed with it. And when you're obsessed with something, you just want to do it all the time, right? So it all comes back to you, being in the right mindset, being in the right motivation, being in the right place now in order to put yourself in the direction that you need to be going every day, even with the bumps in the road, whether it be with business, whether it be with your health, whether it be with anything else in life that you do.
For sure. And what I would say to anybody who's watching this is, if you're watching and you think, well, what if you're having questions of your worthiness, like, okay, I don't know, like, do I love myself? Like, can I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Am I worth it? So as a coach, I would say that's my number one pleasure, is to empower people with a yes, you can.
Right.
You can do this. You are worth it. I coach a lot of moms who are busy taking care of everyone else all day. And it's an honor to be the person who reminds them to take a moment and take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
You can. You're worth it. And until people can have what you're describing, Mark, where they just love themselves enough and take care of themselves enough, that's where I come in, where I can't do this for you, but I can be your number one advocate, and that voice, because you may not have your own internal voice yet. I can be that external voice for now, reminding you, you can. Yes, you can, even right now. Mm-hmm. You're worth it. Sure, you may stumble. That's okay. We all do. You can pick yourself up. That just demonstrates more strength. And let's keep doing this, because you are worth it.
Right.
It's what I always ask a question of my clients in the beginning is just, what's more important to you? What's the most important thing? And here's the three choices: your business, your family, or your personal self. And mostly everybody says family, and some people say business, but they're both wrong. It's your personal self. And the way I describe that is this: if you've ever said to yourself, if I could just have 5 minutes to myself, you're going to be a better person for your family and for your business if you take care of yourself first, loving yourself, as Mark says, right? Absolutely. Would you agree with that, Miriam?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. It's like we should all just be a little bit more selfish, right? I started a Facebook group during this whole craziness called Empowering Moms. Gosh, what the heck is it even called? Moms. Is this bizarre that I can't remember the name of it?
No, happens to all of us all the time, especially in real life.
It's about moms and feeling that, and it says yes, even during quarantine, because it's like I'm in these groups and these women are putting up these amazing things they're doing for their kids, and it's like, hey, have you taken a moment today for yourself? And the cover picture on the group is a person with an oxygen mask on. We all know that you need to put your oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, you're worthless to your family, to your business, so yeah, for sure. Like, is it selfish to take care of you first? Sure. So let's all be a little bit more selfish.
Absolutely.
Once you're selfish for yourself, you can be selfless for everybody else.
There's a self to be given. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Miriam, any other little tips or tricks you want to leave our viewers with today? Okie
doke. Well, I would say, yes, you can. And if you doubt that, or you're wondering how, certainly shoot me a message and we'll be in touch. And I'll say my number again, 201-704-1863. But if you're gun shy, you don't want to call, at the very least, start paying attention to how much sleep you're getting, how much water you're drinking. And I would say, above all else, also make sure you are fueling yourself throughout the day so it doesn't get to that super hungry moment at night where you're just like, ah, la, la, la. And really just check in with yourself and ask yourself, what is truly serving you right now? What do you really want?
Amazing. Amazing. Miriam, thank you so much for joining us this morning, sharing with our viewers how to stay mentally healthy, physical healthy. We really appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of people get out of this. Dave, anything else you want to leave us with today?
I want to thank Miriam for coming on, and I learned a lot, and you confirm a lot of things. It's like I said, sometimes you ask the same question to different people, hoping to get a different answer. You confirm things, and the way you put it out is really good, and I really appreciate you for coming on, and sincerely thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
We want to remind everyone, next week is Small Business Week with us. If you have a small business or know someone that has a small business and wants to be featured, we would love to get your name and business out there to the world. Reach out to one of us so we can share your information or invite you onto the show and talk about your business. Everyone have a great and successful day today, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 8:45.
Take care, everybody.